Hi guys, welcome back. It's been 6 months since we had our oil change, so it's about time to have our oil change. But this time we're doing it DIY, so I'm gonna be doing it on my own, and then I'll go through the steps. Now, I've already took the bike out for a quick spin because you actually want the engine to be not too hot, but you want it warmed up before you actually drain the oil so that the oil will actually flow better. And all those particles na usually pag cold yung engine are not suspended. So this time, when you run it, all those particles are all going to be suspended in the oil. So when you drain the oil, kasama lahat yun. So lahat ng gunk, lahat ng dumi, sasama. But this time, we're going to be using a different oil. Now, this is a little bit surprising. Obviously, we'll be using, like the last time, we'll still be using a K&N oil filter. But the difference now is we're actually using K&N oil. Yes, you heard that right. K&N oil. K&N actually now makes oil too. Ako rin medyo nagulat ako, but if you're going to notice this, it's fully synthetic. The recommended viscosity for this Ducati, the 20W50, and it's actually designed for V-twin performance. So this is basically designed for this type of engine, a V-twin high performance with the correct viscosity. So I will be doing the oil change now. I'll take it around for a few days and then I'll report back how I find the performance of this. Is it similar to the AMSOIL? Is it worse? Is it better? Basically, what I'm really just after, since I'm not really the type who pushes the engine too much, I'm more after how is the engine temperature when I use it, when I'm in traffic, is the engine running hotter? No? So yun yung pinaka mga importanteng part sa akin when I'm dealing with oil, as opposed to really how better it performs, because I'm not really pushing too much. I'm not the type who pushes the engine too much. This bike is still way too much for me. Okay, so join me as I do the change oil. Okay, so the very first thing we have to remove is this cover. So I've already removed the screw from the other side. I'm using, I think this is a size 4. This will give us access to the oil filter. And then there should be another screw here. Yep, here, right here. I just need to check what is the size of that bolt. Looks like a different size. Yeah, different then. This is a size 5. Okay, so that's going to give us the access we need. Okay, make sure we don't lose those bolts. Okay, so the good thing with the K&N na oil filter is you don't actually need an oil wrench, because you can just use a socket to get it unscrewed. Okay, so engine is still pretty hot, so we're going to go with the drain and drain the oil now. Wait, let's get our gloves to make sure di tayo mapasok. Okay, we also need this. Okay, so I bought a pair of gloves from True Value. This is rubberized. So this will make sure we have good grip. And it's only 49 pesos. And this should also prevent us from getting burned kasi may extra protection siya here. Okay, let me just check. What is the socket size? Also for the oil. That looks pretty big. 40. No, kulang. This is 17. Yeah, sakto. So it's a 17 for that. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, let's loosen that. Parang mahirap to. Okay. Para hindi masyadong mataas yung container natin. Wah, tigas ah. Okay. Kaya na ba i-hand? Kulang pa. Yan na. Okay, konti pa. Uh-oh, I dropped the plug. Ah! Okay, let's pick it up later. Okay, see? Because the oil is still warm, it's flowing so much faster. Medyo may itim na. Though it's been 6 months since I changed the oil, I did not really use the bike that much. So, parang ano lang yata tinakbo ko, maybe 2,000 kilometers or baka less pa. Because I'm still at 8,000 something. I'm not exactly sure, but I didn't really use it that much within the last 6 months. At most twice a week lang, and usually it's just short rides. So, okay, so let's try to remove naman the oil filter. Yeah. Oops. Well, medyo hindi effective tong gloves na to. Hindi ko makaapit pag nalagyan ng konting oil. Okay. Okay, there you go. Init. Init pa. Okay, let's let that drip properly. And then I need to wash the floor later. Dapat hindi ko na tinanggal yung cardboard. Pero that's okay. We'll wash it later. Sabon lang yan. Putting back the drain plug. Okay. Okay. That doesn't need to be super tight. Baka masira pa yung thread. Sadly, I don't have a torque wrench. Pero that looks good. Okay, we're just cleaning up here. So we can detect kung may tulo later. Okay, so next thing to do is let's open up our oil. Okay, let's get our oil filter. So we just put a little bit of oil and then get some oil and then oil the gasket to make sure it seals properly. That's it. You actually don't need to fill up the oil filter. You just want to put a little bit of oil. Yeah. Usually we pour a little bit of oil so para meron ka makuhang oil to put in the gasket. Okay, so let's screw this in. There we go. And then, like I mentioned kanina, the advantage of using K&N, you don't need an oil filter wrench. All you need is your socket set. This one uses 17 mm. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit more. That's good. No need to be very tight. May gasket naman siya. And then, so our oil filter is secured, drain plug secured. That's time to fill it up. This one takes a little over 3 liters. So, buti 4 naman ang pinadala nila. Okay, so let's, tatlo lang na picturean ko eh. Nandun sa kabila yung isa kanina. But, okay, let's start filling up. Buti maliit yung spout nyo. But wait, let me just fix this. Wala kasi akong funnel. I forgot to buy a funnel. Nandun ako sa hardware kanina. Slowly lang. But I'm gonna fill up 3 liters lang muna. And then let's see kung gaano karami kulang. Okay, that's 1. Grabe pawis. This is 1 US quart, 946 ml. Okay, let's open up another one. Remember to check your manual when to check the oil level. I know some motorcycle wants it after you warm up to check the oil level. But for this particular bike, it actually asks you to check the level when the engine is actually cold. Okay, it's hot. The oil level is actually correct. So I'll let it cool down and then check it again later if I need to fill up. Okay, Okay, let's tidy up. Let's put back and just making sure walang tulo. Going to put another one of this to make sure kung may tumulo ba o wala. Hi guys, so we're finally taking the Ducati out after our change oil yesterday. Actually kanina nilabas ko na to. I took it to do an errand over lunch, so alam mo na kung gaano kainit yun. And the temperature was pretty normal. It was acting the same way it was with AMSOIL. Ang difference lang na napansin ko, it did take the bike longer to warm up to get to operating temperature, which is around 90 to 100. Parang ang tagal niya umabot doon. And now I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, pero medyo matagal siya umabot. But once it reaches the operating temperature, it acts pretty similar to the AMSOIL, and which we were very happy with, no? Now I also noticed that when during it running at around over 100, I tried to shift also. Shifting is pretty smooth, and so that's a good thing, because remember with motorcycle oil, you have to make sure you're using motorcycle oil specific. Huwag ka gagamit ng motor oil pang kotse sa motor mo, because for one, the transmission and the clutch of motorcycles, more often the wet system they uses the same as your motor oil. So iba, kaya nga yung design ng motor oil for motorcycles is different, because it has to put into consideration yung for the transmission as compared to a motor oil na pang kotse. It doesn't really have to worry about transmission, clutch, because the clutch and the transmission oil is using a different oil system. No? So far this is been performing similarly to what I would expect from other high performance oil. So hopefully in the long run it will still perform the same way, but right now it's just too early to tell. If you notice now, I'm moving pretty slow, and it's around 3 o'clock, so medyo mainit ang ambient temperature. But I would go up and down to mga 103, tapos bababa siya kaagad, ngayon nasa 100. So mabilis din siya lumamig. Once the fan kicks in and I start moving, kahit na hindi masyado mabilis, I'm only running at around 60 now, the temperature would go down. Now I'm down to 99, so that's a good sign that the oil is actually doing its job. Now I was expecting to use more than 3 quarts of oil, but I put in 3 quarts yesterday, let it run to see kung kulang, magdadagdag ako. Pero so far, even after the first run that I did, I checked the oil level seems to be right smack where it should be. So I think 3 quarts is enough, but of course after a few more rides I'll double check and I'll top up if needed. So guys, if you also as curious as me and wants to try K&N oil, sabi ko kasi K&N has been known to be working with engines for such a long time with their filter, their oil filter, so they must have some expertise in the oil field, because ang tagal na nila nagbebenta din ng oil filter. Imposible naman hindi mo alam tungkol sa oil, which is part of the oil filter system. So I think they finally decided to use that expertise to create their own oil. So got me curious. That's why I'm trying it out. So if you're like me and who wants to also try it out, get in touch with Skunk Moto or Skunkworks. I'll put the contact details in the description, and then try it out. Maybe tulad ko, baka maging ito na yung next favorite oil natin para palaging match yung oil natin sa filter natin when we do our oil change. So once again, thank you guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Bye.